With the Carolina Panthers 2026 draft in the books, and we've met majority of them, let us reflect a little bit. Did the Panthers, with a few of their selections, end the careers or futures of current guys on the roster? Or maybe they're just guys that fit a different style and actually complement the players that many say their careers are over in Charlotte. This story and more on this edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome back, Growlers. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on another edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Again, you are joined by the one and only Mr. CeeLo, and Growlers, I hope you guys are doing okay. I want to give a huge growl out to all of the mothers out there, and want to give a huge growl out to my mom. It's been 3 years since you transitioned over. We miss you every single day, and I love you. My kids love you, and all of us love you. Want to give a huge growl out to my wife. Appreciate you and all the things that you do for our kiddos. Love you more than anything else. Want to give a huge growl out to my grandmother. She's 91 years young and still kicking along in good health. We love you, grandmama. Want to give a huge growl out to my mother-in-law. Appreciate all the things that you do and the encouragement that you give my wife. I certainly do appreciate you, and I want to give a huge growl out to all the mothers out there. Nothing but love for all of you and appreciate you. God bless you all. Want to give a huge growl out to all the teachers with the end of the school year coming up. We can never appreciate them more, and thank you. Want to give a huge growl out to the firefighters in South Georgia that are continuing to fight these terrible fires that are dealing in the South. By God's grace, we are getting some rain. Hopefully that will help with the push. Hopefully you all are doing great and having a great time. And everything's cool with you. But I need to give a huge shout out to a few of you. Daniel is a new subscriber. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Growlin' and Prowlin' family. And want to give a huge growl out to Pat. Welcome to the family. And then want to give a huge growl out to Wavy Navy 72. What up? At work, but got my tablet and phone ready for the night. And he is referring to the show that I put out 2 weeks ago. Appreciate you, brother. I was ready too. I did my show on the draft on my other channel, Gridiron Gab Pro Style. So definitely, I hope you guys check me out over there when I did the draft live. Cam Peep 753 Wii says, I think you are on the money. Use Leggett the proper way. Leggett is awesome. Thank you, Cams. I appreciate it. But see, any of you that are watching this show, there are many of you out there that still have a lot of hope in Leggett, and you still have faith in him. I have faith in him because, listen, many of you don't realize the guy ran a 4.37 40 at a combine. So to sit here and hear people sit here and say that this guy can't take the top off of defense, you don't know what you're talking about. The dude can get behind you if they call the right type of play. If he can get one-on-one coverage, this is a dude that can really light up. And there was a lot of times Bryce Scott just missed him. There were times that Leggett had gotten behind whoever it was he was playing. He had him beat. How's that on Leggett? So Cam's peeps, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother. But I'm also going to let you know how many of you said that the addition of Chris Brazel spells disaster in the end for Xavier Legette. I'm going to show you why it's not the end, as well as why the arrival of Lee Hunter is not the end for Bobby Brown. Let's start with Xavier Legette. Chris Brazel came out in the draft, and a lot of people were questioning whether or not he was tough enough to play at the NFL level. But the reality of it is, when you get a guy that runs a 4.37 40 and he's 6'5", and he has a game like he did against the Georgia Bulldogs, and y'all are going to keep watching me reference this game because realistically it's one of the most dominant personal performances I've ever seen a certain one individual receiver have against the Georgia Bulldogs, and it was just absolutely fun to watch because I can't stand the dogs. I can't stand the dogs. But realistically, when you start really analyzing where things were and where when we selected Chris Brazel, I was just absolutely ecstatic. When you look at this guy who was the only wide receiver in the SEC to have 1,000 yards receiving and had 9 touchdowns, it was just absolutely insanely good in a Josh Heupel offense that is just absolutely just treacherously translated into the NFL. It's horribly translated. And you see Deontay Foreman, not Deontay Thompson, not Thornton, excuse me, not translate well to the next level. The Jalen kid, I can't remember what his name is, little guy, that ended up with the Giants, I think it was, and he didn't translate well. So route running's been a problem, but you're not asking him to do too much here in Charlotte. We're not. And then the beautiful thing is you get him at least 20 reps a game. Maybe 4 of those you attempt to throw it down the field. Let's just look at it from this standpoint. Coker and McMillan aren't nearly as fast as he is. They're almost a 1/10 of a second to a 15th of a second slower than Brazel. Those throws that Bryce throws up on 3rd down, if he gets 0 high safeties, or even if he gets a 1 high safety, Bryce has got to take that snap, look over at T-Mac or look over at Coker. Brazel has to be on his own on that side of the field. That way you can get Coker, McMillan, or XL in their own space. And the reality of it is 6'5", and he's got a 7 foot wingspan. You got to decide which one you gonna put him on, and then realistically, if you can get XL the ball underneath, I don't care what anybody says, XL is big and physical. I think too many of you guys forget just how big and physical Xavier Legette is. Look, don't let the critics and detractors get in your head, because there's a lot of people talking about who's on the hot seat, which guys are going to be out the door and so on and so forth. Listen, you can't let that get in your ear. That can't be a situation that creeps into the locker room. It can't be. Can't be a situation where you allow that to creep in. You have to keep that subtly out of the locker room, because when you look at Xavier Legette, 6'3", 227 pounds. See, this is up to the coaching staff to get this right. See, XL is a weapon. 6'3", 227 pounds. And guys, I didn't just make this up. I didn't just make this up, you guys. See, many people forget how fast this guy is. He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. So now you got two guys that are sub 4.4. What are you doing? And see, this is where I have a problem with certain fans and fan bases. You forget. Just that quick, you forget. This guy can run by people. I think it's up to Bryce to get, because realistically, this is a situation where these guys have to start getting close to Bryce and getting this recognition with him. Because I'm praying Brad Idzik is more aggressive than what Dave Canellis was. You have to be aggressive. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. At this phase in the game, Bryce is coming up on year 4, third year with Dave Canellis. There's no time for, I'm playing for my life. Here you are. You've got the 5th-year option. You basically got 2 years. And they're building the team around you. And I'm going to throw this name in there. I'm sick and tired of hearing people talking about Carolina should have went and got a tight end. Our tight ends are fine. Coaching staff needs to efficiently game plan for them, just like with Excel. At some point, you have to do your job and do it the best of your ability.
Stupid. Dumb shit. Dumb shit. Dumb shit.
Now, let us transition to Lee Hunter. A guy whom, if you guys know me, you guys know Romello Height is a hometown kid. So we watched a lot of Texas Tech here in Central Georgia. The guy is absolutely a monster on that defensive front. And for any of you that did not watch the film on him yet, he's that dude. And to me, Lee Hunter's going to do a couple of things. He's a younger, inexperienced version of A'Shawn Robinson. 6'3", 318 pounds. Second team All-American, a major presence in the middle of a defense, and a 2-gap run stuffer who can command a double team. Strong hands and can hold up at the point of attack. He has the power to push the pocket and be disruptive in the backfield. Hunter can play high at times, but he has hard to stop when he stays low. Overall, he did not test off the charts at the combine, but he shows the ability on film to be effective at the next level, and he draws comparisons to DJ Reader. Now, this is important. Why? Because when Derek Brown is able to go one-on-one, he's almost unstoppable.
Damn you!
You don't have to answer that question.
I know. Listen, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. If Lee Hunter is that dude,
Yoo-hoo! I'll make you famous.
what he said. And now listen, a lot of analysts said this is bad for Bobby Brown III. I beg to differ, because Coach Evero needs to look back at the film last season. And if the Carolina Panthers struggle stopping the run with Turk Wharton on the field, Bobby Brown needs to take that spot on first and second down. Look, listen, to me, Derek Brown and Lee Hunter can generate a pass rush on first and second down if they have to. Okay? This is not something that we need to go through again. If Turk Wharton has to be a situational pass, he has to be in on pass situations, so be it. To me, this should not eliminate Bobby Brown III being on the field, because to me, Turk Wharton was getting hammered early on in the season and middle of the season when he played in the run game. I think this should be elementary. I think this is self-explanatory. I think this is a no-brainer when you look back at it. This has to be simple. Lee Hunter, Derek Brown, Bobby Brown III on first down. Now, if it's second and long, like say second and 10 plus, Lee Hunter, Derek Brown, Turk Wharton. Third down, Lee Hunter, Derek Brown, Turk Wharton. If it's third and less than 5, or excuse me, third and less than 4, Bobby Brown the third, Lee Hunter, Derek Brown. And then you could even start sliding Cam Jackson in there some. And listen, a lot of people are going to say, well, you said you were high on Cam. And I was. I am kind of high on Cam Jackson. I like Bobby Brown the third too. But guys, depth, rotation. 300-pounders don't need to play 60 plays a game. Hell, they don't even need to play 4. They don't. I think ultimately we get Derek Brown some reps. Excuse me, Cam Jackson some reps in certain situations. I think realistically, you got a guy like Cam Jackson that can play in the middle of the special teams with his 6'6" size. That is ultimately why I wanted a guy like Caleb Banks. Because if he's not ready to contribute early, special teams. Special teams. I don't think this is the end for Bobby Brown. I think this is where Coach Ibero, and I haven't heard much out of camp. I'll have to get with my sources and get back with you guys. I know I haven't been with you guys since the draft. I'm sorry. I'm going to be trying to do better there. But I'm going to start getting in some intel and trying to find out what's going on at these mini camps, find out what they look like. And guys, I'm going to tell you, I don't see it. I don't see it as being a problem. I see it as being a beautiful rotational thing. The problem is Coach Avero needs to get it right. Turk Wharton does not need to be on first downs. He needs to be in sporadically on second downs. I think you need to rotate the crap out of this defense. You got the players. Derek Brown don't need to play 60 plays a game. Now he needs to lead the team in reps. And if Lee Hunter starts showing what I think he's going to show, then you could argue that Lee Hunter should take the lead as far as reps because he's younger. And you definitely want your best players to be available come playoff time. But I don't think many of you know. I think what I heard today, the Carolina Panthers are going to have the 4th toughest schedule in the NFL next season. So, yeah. But an interesting nugget to look at. Bobby Brown only played 33% of the snaps for the Panthers last season. Now, see, this is where I have a problem with Coach Avero. Because, in my opinion, our run defense was in the middle of the road. And you guys heard me run this stat to death. You can double check it if you choose to. But the Panthers gave up an average of 50-plus yards more with Turk Wharton on the field than they did with Bobby Brown. Or without Turk Wharton, so to speak. So, in my opinion, I don't know who paid attention. But I don't know. I'm not tooting my own horn, but it almost feels like somebody in the Panthers organization was paying attention. And we were in the middle of the road on run defense. And I would say about a third of our games last season, we weren't stopping teams running the ball. The other teams were abandoning the run. So we can't just go patting ourselves on the back saying, yeah, we got the run game stopped. No, we didn't. We could have easily been historically bad yet again. And a lot of that is because Coach Avero, look, Turk Wharton's not a run stopper. He's a pass rusher on the interior. Get him off the field on first and second and shorts. Put him out there on second and longs, third and passing situations. That's it. But guys, I see this as being an opportunity. I think ultimately, if Coach Avero understands what he has between him, Cam Jackson, Turk Wharton, this should be one of the more dominating pass rushing interiors and run stopping interiors in the National Football League. This is on Coach Avero because unfortunately, his own system, he does not blitz at the level that you would want him to do. I think they say we ran out of the 3-4 29% of the time last season. That's supposed to be our base defense. Come on now. And it ain't because you ain't got the players. At some point, you got to become a true 3-4 and give teams something to look at. But my outlook, the Panthers paid way too much money for Turk Wharton. Bobby Brown, not so much, but I think Bobby Brown would be the easiest casualty. Me personally, I wouldn't have a problem going away from Turk Wharton. Unless he has a comeback season this year. I'm not really a big fan of those smaller defensive tackles. I like the big ones, especially in this 3-4. The only time I like tackles of Turk Wharton's size is to put him on the edge on first and second down. But outside of that, I'm not a fan. But I still see Lee Hunter being able to coexist with Bobby Brown III and Cam Jackson. It's all up to Coach Avero. Guys, all of this is up to the coaches. They need to realize you can't fall in love with a guy being out there every single play. And that includes Derek Brown. You got to give him a chance to see what he can do. Because you ain't got many more seasons with him. And I don't think he's a guy that can not help you. I think he's a guy that can help you with that 6'6", 325-pound body. I do. Let me know what you guys think out there, Panther Nation. Let me know if you think this is the end of Bobby Brown III or Cam Jackson or Turk Wharton with Lee Hunter selection, or if you think Chris Brazzell's selection is the end for Jimmy Horn Jr., Xavier Legette, or even Bryson Tremaine. Let me know who's going to be on the outs, or if none of them are on the outs, or if they're like I said. They all have a plethora of skills, and Brad Idzik's going to be able to figure out an offense that utilizes all of their skills. Make sure that if you like this show, you hit a thumbs up, as well as making sure that you hit that bell notification and that subscribe button so you can get all of my shows as they drop. Make sure you go over to Facebook at Growlin' and Prowlin' and check us out over there. Check out the page, add us as a friend, and make sure you go over to the group, Growlin' and Prowlin', and make sure you hit that join the group icon so that we can get back to you and you can be a part of one of the coolest yet meanest groups on Facebook. Finally, go over to Instagram and check me out over at Mr. CeeLo. If you want to keep the bannering going, all you got to do is hit me up in my inbox and we can keep the banner going. Only one rule: be nice. But until we meet again, happy Mother's Day. Y'all stay safe. And don't forget, keep prowling the airwaves and growling out. Keep pounding.